Hey you guys, so this is Thoughts with Queen T, and essentially my thought or topic for today is going to be on weight loss drugs, weight loss medications, um, and I'm going to have two articles in the description below. One is going to be on basically Sophie Turner's comments on this particular drug, Ozempic, the type 2 diabetes medication drug that everyone's kind of been using now, it seems, even though it's for diabetes and people want to use it for weight loss. And the other one is more of an insider's perspective when it comes to, I would say, the damaging results in regards to this drug from eating disorder experts, like their insight, their expertise, how this can be really damaging for certain individuals and for different people. And the thing is why I want to talk about this is, I wanted to talk about it for a bit, but just in general, I think my idea and my thought process behind this is, if you definitely need the medication, take the medication. To me, it's first and foremost a diabetes medication. It's definitely been promoted though as a weight loss tool. Like everyone, I've heard since the beginning of this year, celebrities, different people, with more money have been able to access this drug a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, because they can pay out of pocket for it. And they've just been raving about, losing weight on it. And the thing is, I don't mind people using medication to lose weight. If you definitely need to lose the weight, because they have used this particularly for people who are, I would say, considered maybe overweight, who are maybe having a little bit more health problems and need to lose a little bit of extra weight to, help them with these health problems. I have no problem with that. I have no qualms with that. It's more so on the side of, I want to lose, I just want to lose weight, whether it's like 10 pounds or, 15 pounds, something along those lines. That's where it kind of gets, it's definitely a gray area, but that's where it kind of gets a little sticky for me, because the drug is definitely used for one thing, but with it being promoted as another, it's definitely going to bring people in who, I want to lose weight. And why I want to include both of these articles is, first and foremost, talking about Sophie Turner's. I enjoy when celebrities just speak their mind and particularly talk about their experiences, what has happened to them, because I think a lot of people can relate in a lot of cases. A lot of people can draw maybe inspiration and then start to think, okay, how can I maybe seek help? How can I do something better? Kind of relate a little bit to the story. And that's one of the reasons why I've really enjoyed Sophie Turner is, of course she was fantastic in Game of Thrones. It's where I first saw her. But now she's been, everywhere else in between. And she has talked about her experience with her body image and how, kind of being in the spotlight with being in Game of Thrones, different comments that have been thrown her way that has resulted in, that thought process, everything that has kind of happened. And she's been very open and public about that. And that's one of the things I really admire about her. That's one of the things I very much admire about a lot of celebrities, when they speak their truth and they tell their story. And what happened was, with this particular situation, is she was headed, whether it was off or on the New York subway, she saw an ad for this medication. And she posted on her story, this can just go away. She said something else, but, family friendly. And I sat there, I'm like, you know what? Yes, it can just like go away, because I think there's still that, there's a lot of things, okay? A part of me still has the thought process of, okay, what is the ad trying to essentially promote? Like, is it trying to say, not necessarily like, hey, that this is what you could be, this is what you should be, because I still think there is, to a degree, that standard of what people should look like in some regards, as to, you should be a size whatever instead of a size what you are now. But there's also that point of, where can this lead? And that is kind of what this article talks about. Sophie goes into, at first it's going to be, hey, I want to lose maybe 10 pounds. But then it goes into, I want to lose like hundreds of pounds, like it goes into this drastic increase, and the goals keep changing, and that can be very detrimental. Which then leads me into the other article. As somebody who is still recovering from their eating disorder, I would say I related a lot to this article and what they were talking about, because the thing is, of course, the drug does so much. But you might have individuals who want to come in. As mentioned, maybe it's, hey, I want to lose weight. If at times you may not know, if you do not know, someone has not point blank told you you have an eating disorder, if you have not been essentially conditioned for one, written out for one, examined for one, you may not know. You may think you have one, but you don't know. And your doctor is not going to fully examine you for that, unless like fully prompted. And what I mean by that is, I went to my doctor for years. It wasn't until like one trip or one time I went, we were talking about something. I cannot tell you what led to this conversation, but, we did the depression test, the anxiety test. We were talking about different stressors, and finally we were talking about, like, what are you eating? How much are you exercising? What's your sleep? And I gave my answers, and my doctor turned to me and she's like, I think you have an eating disorder. In my mind, I knew I had one. I was very certain I did. No one ever said anything. No one ever did anything. So in some cases, it's very hard to, I wouldn't say come out and say it, but if you think you do, that's one thing. But if you don't have it, just like, oh yes, like check box, you have it. Like it's very hard to explain. But the thing is, what this article very much talks about is, you're going to have somebody who might come in. They may not examine the signs of an eating disorder. I certainly didn't. That's why no one ever said anything, did anything. But they might say, hey, I want to be on this drug. Your doctor may not think twice about it. They may ask some questions. I'm gonna go on it. You might lose some weight. And this is for anyone. You might lose some weight. You might plateau. But the thing is anyone, if you're not satisfied, can then be like, well, I want more. And that, I think, can be very damaging, because if you would want more, again, you may lose some, you may then plateau. I do not know. Each body is very different. But let's say you get to the weight you want to be at and you decide, I don't need this drug anymore. You're just going to gain it all back. And I think that's what some people don't understand, is this is very much a Band-Aid. It's not something that's just going to be resolved by waving a wand. Like, it's not, you can definitely have the goals. If it is something where it's like, yes, I want the quick fix, definitely do it. Like, if you want the quick fix, take the quick fix. But it is going to be just a vicious cycle. That is with any of these drugs. That is with any weight loss drug. To me, I almost consider it like a diet. How some people go on a diet for a couple months and then they're like, oh, I'm done with my diet. I fit in my swimsuit now. I'm ready for vacation, whatever. And then it just goes, back to what they were doing. And that may be fine. That's probably that may be what they wanted. For some, it's not. For some, they wanted to stay at that weight. If you want to stay at that weight, you need a lifestyle change. That is what it is. It's not going to be the Band-Aid. It's not the Band-Aid. It's going to have to be a lifestyle change, where it's 80% what you eat, 20% exercise. That is what's going to determine how much you are losing. So, and that's kind of that's my thoughts on it. I mean, I don't think this drug is bad by any means. I think it is how it's more so, whether it is the advertising, and I think that's what's getting me, is the advertising part of it. But the advertising, maybe just, oh yes, I'm just gonna, from how I've heard it's been going, like, let me just, oh, you want it? Here you go. Like, I don't think it's been that easy for some, but if it is something where you're not getting the proper clearance, and I think as more people talk about it and have been, kind of showing a little bit of distaste for this, that might change. Where it's like, okay, here's question 1, question 2. Do you need this? Kind of clearing all their bases, and then going from there. Is that how it should be? Sadly, no. Like, we should know. But at the same time, it's not something that should be so, I think, easily received either. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it. It is something I wanted to talk about for a bit, because just with all the areas it covers, it is something that I very much am passionate about. It's something that I have a lot of thoughts about and wanted to talk about it. So that's my thoughts on it. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.